Okay, let's see if this works. I think I got the time for this event wrong like in 2 different ways at this point because I keep inputting the wrong time into Discord. So I hope people show up. I don't know, how hard is it to just freaking... For some reason I just cannot input the like one time correctly. Like, just... Ugh. Hi friends. Alright, let's see what's going on. As usual, I'm behind on writing recommendation letters. I was going to write them today and it did not happen. What's today? So by popular request, by which I mean... Well, actually, popular request might not be the right way to describe it. But basically, I'm going to do an Otis Web tutorial, which shows people, the goal is to get people to figure out how to use Otis, the Otis Web GitHub, is the TLDR. So, with that... We'll see how this goes. I have not done something like this before, so it may end up being a disaster. But, well, whatever. It's fine. Okay, so I'm gonna move this here. Okay. Is there no volume control in this thing? There must be, right? All right. Okay, let's run this. What are we doing today? GitHub, basically. That's TLDR. What I really want is like a code jam scene or something like that. I'm gonna move the Twitch stuff to the bottom. So I want this and this. Also, I'm going to not get that anymore. Keycam is a little screwed up, so let's fix that. Okay, it's a man. I actually expected a bigger turnout considering that everyone's been peppering me with questions about how do you install Otis Web. Well, whatever, as long as we get a video out of it, that's the important part, because then I can paste the link to the video and I stop having to explain things over and over. Okay, press that one. Okay, welcome everyone to the Otis web tutorial. So this is a sort of code jam where I'm going to be implementing some random features on Otis Web from scratch, just so that people can see what the process looks like. The reason we're doing this is because, you know, I put the Otis Web on GitHub and have this open thing that's like, you know, if you want a feature or something, you can just code it yourself. You know, here's the source code, submit a pull request. And then I found out that people don't know what a pull request is. So that worked about as well as you would have expected it to. So this is going to be, yeah, this is going to be a shorter tutorial. I guess the other benefit is that those of you who have not seen my coding setup before can now get to see like what it looks like when I write code. You'll get to find out why, you'll get to find out why I think Vim is just better than whatever, is it called like Sublime or something? I forget. Okay, so stuff we're gonna do today. I went to. Why did my viewer count drop to 0? Is that supposed to happen? I don't think that's supposed to happen. Huh. Okay, whatever. We'll deal with that later. I'm pretty sure the viewer count is not 0 because I think there's some people watching right now. But. Yeah, I don't know. The world may never know. Okay, so there's going to be sort of 3 parts to what I'm doing today. First is I'm going to show you the black magic that is called Git and GitHub, which is GitHub is sort of like Google Docs. You can't run away from it anymore. Like there are alternatives, but you know. If you want to share code, everyone uses Git now, so you don't really have a choice. After that, I'm going to so Git is what you use to like share code with each other. Poetry is this thing that Otis Web uses to manage a Python thing. So very roughly, it's called install Otis Web. And then after I've done that, I will actually try to talk about the website itself. Okay. Right. So let's do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sign up for a GitHub account. Which I hope this works. So I'm assuming this is pretty self-explanatory. We'll find out. I have to make up a password. The problem is I'm going to like forget the password in like about 5 minutes, so I'm going to just generate some random garbage string. Okay. Right. We're going to be W enhanced for the purposes of the tutorial. What? Someone stole W enhance? No! Who took W enhance? Okay, we're gonna use U enhance because W enhances got stolen. And start puzzle, click the spiral galaxy, whatever. Create account, beautiful. Okay. And I will enter this launch code. I'm just a person, whatever. Blah. Yeah, cool. Go on. Oh. Well, no, this is stupid. Wow, this animation is way fancier than it was when I signed up. What the heck is this? Why is it so fancy? Okay, so we signed up, we made an account. Amazing. Okay, let's go back to where I was. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go find the Otis Web code repository, and I'm going to do what's called making a fork of it, which is basically I'm going to like make another copy. So I'm going to press this fork button, blah blah blah. Great, we made a copy. So now this unenhance has a copy of the all the Otis web code. And now I'm going to actually post out a command line. So let's see, how do I want to do this? No, I want... Okay, we'll need to focus on that right now. $. Okay, so for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm going to assume that you have access to a working command line and have access to both Git and Poetry. So if you are on Mac or Linux, you should have a command line. If you're on Windows, sucks to be you. So there's this thing called Windows Subsystem for Linux that I think basically makes a Linux command line. So you want to start by getting that thing. And whatever you want to be able to like open a terminal and type like git help, and if it's like outputs a message, then that's fine. That's basically what we care about. Okay, so right now we have this copy of Otis Web that I've just made. And I want to take this and download it. And the way you do that is, actually, does it even have a tutorial for that? Code. Okay, so you take the URL that it gives you and you type the words git clone, and then you paste the URL, which I would do if I can figure out how to paste. And when you do this, wherever directory you're in, so actually let me file our up folder so you can see this. There's now this folder in here called Otis Web, along with all the other stuff. And if you go inside, it's a copy of this code that you have here. So we have a copy of the whole website now. And I'm going to go inside. So in the world of command line, this is called CD. This stands for change directory. It means that this terminal is now standing inside this folder along with everything else. So if I type ls, for example, which stands for list, you can see this is the same set of files as this. Right, where was I? Okay, so actually I think that's all I needed to say here. So this is the Git part. This is just me making a copy of the code. Now the next thing I want to do is basically install a copy of Otis Web that will run on my local computer. And so this is what Otis uses a tool that's called Poetry. So if you don't already have it, which you probably don't if you're listening to this tutorial, honestly, Poetry Python. There's a thing here that tells you how to install it. Depending on what operating system you live in and what your bash shell is, things will look a little different. But for example, Windows Subsystem, most of the time you just run this thing. And if you can type poetry // and it outputs like, something readable, you have the command. So do whatever makes sense for your system to install the command. And once you have it, well, let me first see. What do I want to do? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create what's called a virtual environment for Otis Web. And what an environment is you can imagine that you're working on working on 5 different Python projects, okay? And one of the projects requires Python 3.8, and then the other project requires 3.9, but it requires a library that has to be version 2.7, and then you have another project that requires the same library at version 3.1, and then Python needs to be at least 3.10, blah blah blah. You get into a total mess extremely quickly. So the solution to this is that in Python, what we usually do is for every project, we create a separate little bubble. The way you think of it is a bubble that you will work inside. And if you work inside the bubble, all your installations or whatever, like when you install Python and any dependencies, it only affects that little bubble that you're working in. So this way, you don't have your different projects fighting with each other. Okay, so how do we do this? So the command for this, I'm gonna type poetry env use, and apparently I don't know how to use this because I haven't used this before in a while. Is it that? Okay, so you do this thing and wait, how do I tell if it's active? So it's made a bubble. Do I go poetry shell next? Is that the play? Okay, so yeah, I guess this is how it works. So the first command is called poetry env use Python. You type this, and then it'll create this. It creates the bubble, and then to actually go inside the bubble, you type the command poetry shell. So now we're inside this bubble. Let me make sure this is actually working the way I think it is. Well, actually, it should because it has this little icon here in my setup. So we're inside this bubble. Once you're inside this bubble, you can type the following commands, which is poetry install. And what happens is that in the copy of all the code you downloaded, there's a file here called poetry. Actually, let me open this one. This one's a little less confusing. There's a file called pyproject.tomo that is part of the code that you downloaded. And inside here, it basically tells you all the stuff that it's going to use. So we're just going to... we don't need to touch this file because Evan provides this file for you. And what you do is you type poetry install, and it now goes through the arduous task of... oh my god. What is this? Use KP, sure. Sure, I don't know what that did. I have no idea what this is, so I'm just gonna pretend it didn't happen. Whatever. So then it's just gonna install all the crap that's listed here. So blah 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 da, da, da. I didn't realize I was using this much stuff. We appreciate your patience. Okay, cool. Done. Okay, so we check if everything works, and I'm gonna cross my fingers. I have no idea if everything's gonna work, but I think it should. Frick. Okay. Unknown level, verbose. Oh. Oh, god damn it. This is why I should not use submodules. Sorry. One small change of plan. We're gonna run... There's a problem right now, which is that there's one folder in the Otis project, which is really annoying, and it's called this folder, Evan the Django Tools. And the reason this folder is annoying is because it's actually empty right now. It's a pointer to a folder in a different repository that I put somewhere else because I shared this code between a bunch of places. So, basically it's complaining right now because this thing is empty and it needs the stuff in here. So, I'm gonna run one more git command. This is git... Oh god, I hope I get this right. Git submodule update recursive init. I hope? Maybe? Okay, cool. Anyways, the folder is no longer empty, which is what I care about. Python manage.py. So, I'm skipping ahead a little bit. Okay, so this command is just the way I check to make sure that everything's alive. So if I type this thing and the system doesn't identify any issues, then, you know, that means the bubble has the stuff that it needs to actually run the code. Okay, I have to decide what order I want to do this in now. I think for Otis Hub, I have to type migrate first. So I'm going to type this command for now. For the moment, please just take this on faith that this will do what you want. Basically, it's creating a database, is the TLDR. And you watch as sparks fly. Okay. And I'm going to type python manage.py run server. And if this works correctly, then what this does is we've created a copy of Otis Web that is running on the local computer. Not connected to the internet, like it is running on this computer. So what that means is if I open my web browser, and go to 127.0.0.1:8000. You get Otis Web. It's amazing. And this is actually like it's not connected to the projection database, so right now it's like pretty empty, but it is actually a working copy of Otis Web, and you can do stuff with it. So yeah, okay. I think that's all I want. I'm gonna make a cut here for my own reference later. So for, I guess, whoever is actually watching this live, I don't know how many of there are because the viewer count just says dash. Do you have any questions so far before I keep going? "16 viewers live." Okay, cool. Okay, that is actually better than this. I was expecting like 10. And then it said 0, and I was like, really? No, I don't believe that. I just dropped to 12. Okay, okay, so with no update, is that a mistake? That's a great question. I actually don't know off my head. Let's find out. Get some module in recursive. Okay, that is a mistake. Thank you for catching that. Okay, so we're gonna... Okay, before I dive into the Otis Web itself, because right now almost everything I've talked about is like agnostic to Otis Web. Like this is just in general, if there's a project on GitHub using Poetry, here's how you know, grab it from the internet and install it in a little bubble. So let's make our first change, alright? So we're gonna go back to the folder of stuff, and it's been pointed out to me in the README there is a mistake because I'm really good at stuff. So this thing here is wrong. This is supposed to say git submodule update --init --recursive. So this is just a normal file on the computer, so whatever text editor you have open, you know, you can make changes to it. So I'm going to type the word update, and I'm going to actually break this line because it's getting a little long. So let's imagine we're in this world where, okay, there's a change I want to make. I want to add the word update into the README. So once you've made the changes, I'm going to go back to the terminal where Git is alive. So now that I have this clone of Otis Web, Git is very carefully keeping track of every change that I make. This is part of the power of Git. It's like, you know, all your changes are tracked for you. So if I type the vanilla command git status, you can see it can tell that I have modified this file by 2 lines. You know, blah blah blah, and git. If I type git diff is the thing, it'll actually show you what the changes are. So it's telling right now I've taken this line, these 2 lines, and replaced them with these 2 lines. So if I'm happy with this change, pushing changes is a 2-step process. So what you do is you first add the changes that you want to this stage. So I'm going to type git add and the name of the file that I just changed, so git add readme. And now you can see the status looks different. This is changes to be committed. So we call this a stage, I guess because this is where you like, you know, you have this work that you do and then you put some subset of it on a stage and says, this is the one that I am all done with. Depending on how fancy your terminal is, it might also indicate it, like these indicators here are actually just directly Git indicators. So this was saying there's one file change not staged, this is one file change that is staged. And once you have everything you want on a stage, what you type is you type git commit. And when you type git commit, it will prompt you to type a message. So I'm just gonna say fix doc. It doesn't matter what you type for now. So repair readme or add miss. So just write in words whatever you want. I do not hold the GitHub repository up to a very high standard of messages, so I don't know, whatever. Add missing update in git submodule. Okay, so you save the file and then you quit. And I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this until later, but once you have it committed, I really should have done this on a different branch. Fuck. Ah, frick. If I talk about reset now, it's gonna be a total mess. Yeah, okay, you know what? I don't care about good practice. We're just gonna make things simple. Once I'm happy with these changes, I can type git push, and I get a permissioner because I didn't actually set this up. Okay. Beautiful. Honestly, that was gonna happen. So, really roughly, like right now, I have this copy of Otis Web that's sitting on the GitHub right now under the UEnhance account. And what I want is I want to take these changes and push them up to here. So very roughly what I need to be able to do is I need to log in to GitHub and then type this command, which I do not have set up right now. So I have to go back to this GitHub account that I just created and actually set up some form of authentication. So it's somewhere here, I have no idea where. Let's write my name. Demo account. Whatever. Cool. Account? Is it under account or SSH and GPG keys? Okay, so the way that you log into GitHub from the command line that people typically do is using what's called SSH keys, and there's this guide here that actually just tells you how to do it. So I'm gonna open the guide, and I'm gonna actually read it because I haven't done this in a long time. Okay, blah blah blah. This is what SSH is. Okay, check. Okay, we don't have an existing key. Generating a new key. So, yeah, we're just gonna follow these instructions. All right. So we're gonna type SSH keygen TED25519, and we're gonna type in an email address. You type this, and then it's going to prompt you for a file in which to save the key. It doesn't matter what name you pick, because I don't want to screw myself over with my demo file. I'm just going to write ID demo, but it doesn't matter what you do. And then you're supposed to enter a passphrase, so I'm going to just type in some random password thing. Type in whatever password you feel like. Okay, great. So now what's happened is it's created this key for us. And then, oh my god, it wants us to use an SSH agent? I'm gonna ignore this. This is above this. Okay, we're going to ignore the manual. Okay, I'm gonna press this button. So, what's happened is that when I do this, it generates an SH key that is stored in the folder that it says right up here. So I'm going to go back up to my home directory and go under the .ssh folder where's ID demo? Wait, did it save it here? That's not where this is supposed to go. This is going bad as well as I thought it would. Okay, apparently it saved the keys in the Otis Web folder, which is really not where I want to have my keys. So I'm gonna like move them. So back to home, go under Otis Web, and these two keys called ID demo and ID demo.public can go back here. So the thing you want to know is that this is called a public key, hence the .pub. You can share this with whoever you want, / upload it to GitHub or whatever. This is called this is the private key. You do not give this to anyone, okay? This is called a private key for a reason. It's basically the password, except it's stored on your computer rather than in your memory. So, the dumbest thing I could do right now is double click this file so that it streams for everyone. I'm going to very carefully not do that and open the public key instead. And oh my god, no, that's not. Why did this open? Okay, whatever. I don't care. Cool. So take this string No, go away. Ideally, in a actual world, you would open this in like a reasonable text editor. Open. Yeah. Anyways, basically, there's going to be a string in here, and I'm going to take the string and put it into the GitHub website, or at least try to. Come on. Paste. Ta-da! Okay, so now I have this key. Right. Still won't let me push, right? Okay. So the next thing I need to do is I need to tell this bubble here that I want to push through here with SSH. So I think what I want to do is the following. So we're going to go into the .git folder. Under the .git folder, wherever you clone the repository, there's this file that's called config. So the very first thing I need to do is change this URL, because this URL is an HTTPS URL, and GitHub has disabled using this for actually pushing this stuff because password authentication is kind of a mess. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to change this to git@github.com:uenhance/otis-web.git. And what this does is that this is an SSH URL, so it's going to try to use the key we just generated. It will fail and you'll see why in a moment. But well, actually, we can see now. So now if you git push, it will at least try to go to the right place, but it still doesn't know where to look for the key that we gave it. So what do I do? So I'm going to go back to where I put my keys, and the file you want here is config. I'm going to open, wait, really? That's all this in here? Okay, let me think this through. What am I supposed to do now? Blah, blah, blah. So in theory, if I type this, is it supposed to work? Okay, I don't freaking know. Oh, also this is the venhance account, so it's actually not using the right one. I wanted to use the wenhance, or not the uenhance key that I just generated. Anyone remember what I'm supposed to do? I need to tell it to use the ID demo key, but I don't remember how you actually do that. Okay, so this is the config file in otisweb.git, and this is the config file for SSH. So, wait, this is way harder than I remember it being. Okay, I want to type the following lines. Host GitHub, host name github.com, user uenhance, identity file, home.ssh.id demo. That is this file right here. And I'm going to take this, and I think if I just write GitHub, it should work. Either that or git@github, I forget, let's find out. God damn it. Git@github. No. How did I do this before? Oh, we're doing it live. Oh crap. Well, that happened. I'm sorry, I need to regenerate this key. I just like leaked. Yeah, I just leaked the private key on the stream. One moment, please. Does it really require me to add an agent? There's a star in the file path for ID demo. Wait, what? Am I not supposed to use... something like that? It should be this one, right? Am I crazy? I feel like this is supposed to work. Remote rejected. Main permission denied. Alright, what did I do wrong? Instead of host, github.com. Oh, is that how it works? Oh, that feels really weird. Really? Oh, but then I have to change this to github.com. No, it's still permission denied. I feel like host versus host, like... Do I do that? No, I think it's going to the right place, but it's throwing a permission error. Like, I feel like it is reading some key, but I have no idea what key it's reading. It should be this one, right? So if I type some garbage here, it will complain that there's no file. No, it didn't. Okay, something's very wrong then. Get at github.com, SSH ID demo. Oh my god, this is why I should just have an SSH agent. How do I tell it to read this key I just made? Is the analysis too hard? Yeah, that. Ruby Palace rule is... sounds like work. Do I have to run SSH add? Really? Oh my god, I'm so glad I have to deal with this crap. I guess that's what I get for using okay. That's the issue, okay. Beautiful. So, okay. Really? See, because I don't do this by hand anymore, so it's been a long time since I've had to actually manually type SSH add. Okay, so basically because I was trying to do a demo and save this key in a non-standard location, I didn't know how to find it, and apparently what you're supposed to do is type ssh/add path to the private key, type in the passcode, and then also if this is set up, then it should work. Beautiful. Wow. God damn it. This is embarrassing. So now what you can see is that on Otis Web, I am one commit ahead of the upstream Behance branch. This commit that I just made, where I changed the submodule, is up there. So now what I can do is, well, the way that I propose this is once you look at this on GitHub.com, it will tell you that you're ahead, and what you can do is you can press this green button that says Create Pull Request. And then when you do that, there's this stuff, blah 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 blah, typos. Alright, we fixed the typo, I guess. Yeah, just write whatever. I don't really care. And then you can do is create a pull request, which means that this change gets now sent to Evan, and Evan looks at it, and then later on will either approve or deny the change depending on how much coffee he had. So this is how you submit changes. We'll do this again in a moment, but yeah. I figured if I was going to fix a typo, I might as well show you how to fix the typo in such a way that Evan can actually incorporate it. Okay, so I'm gonna cut the Git and Vim part there because I want to actually get to coding at some point today. So for people who are following live, any other questions before I keep going? Okay, cool. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a tour of the Otis web code itself. So actually, I'm not really using this, so this can go somewhere else. So I'm going to open a file browser. So in Otis Web, hide the Git ones. Almost every folder corresponds to a so-called application. So Otis Web is divided into a bunch of different folders depending on like what people are doing with what, and then but they're just separate applications. For the most part, you can almost ignore everything that's a top-level file. We'll talk more about this eventually, maybe, probably not, honestly. So I'm going to pick a random application and just open it. And in the application, they all have sort of the same structure. You can ignore this file, you can ignore this file. The ones that matter for us... Actually, for now, let's ignore these two as well. These are for tests. I will write some tests later. But the things that each application have is they have what are called models, they have what are called views, and then they have what are called templates. So that's this folder here. You can ignore this folder. Ignore this folder for now as well. So I'm going to open models. So in the Django, okay, now I need the thing that I just hid. And of course I didn't leave enough space, so let me add an empty frame after this. So when you open a model, ignore this. A model tells you like what kind of objects you care about and how they are stored in the database. So for example, if I want to store a market, you can ask yourself, what data do I need to run a market? And for us, the answer is the following. You want to start date for the market. You type in end date, and all of these things are like, basically what you do is you read the code that's already there, and if I wrote the code well, which is a dubious assumption, it should basically tell you what it's trying to tell you, like what it is doing. Like if you write code well, people who read the code should be able to tell what it's trying to do. So under a market, there's this notion of a start date and end date. There's a semester with a foreign key. So what a foreign key means is that the semester is itself a different kind of object in the database. So in the database, there's also an object called semester. In fact, you can even see the tooltip. It represents an academic semester, like year 3 or whatever. Slug, there's the title of the market. This is the prompt, that's like the question that's asked. This is the solution, that's my notes on the solution. Answer, wait, blah, blah, blah. So there's all this stuff about like, you decide how do I want to store the data? Like if I'm going to make a market, what data does the database need to know? And you do this for like every sort of object in Otis Web. Yeah. So now let me show you what it looks like from a graphical point of view. So I'm gonna break script a tiny bit, and in the, oh my god, I did not plan this well. We're doing it live. Okay, we'll move this to the bottom. So in the thing itself, I told you that you can ignore almost every top level file. There's one file you sort of care about. You're never going to open it, but you're going to run it a lot. And that's this file here that's called manage.py. And manage.py is how you, it's the top level command that runs all the other stuff. So earlier I showed you Python manage.py run server, for example. This is a thing that will create a server and that you go to a local Otis Web. Right now there's not much I can do with this because the database is literally empty. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go tell manage.py I want to do this thing called create a super user, and find out that apparently I have no, oh my god, can't spell. Python manage.py create super user, alright? And it'll ask you for a username, it'll ask you for an email address, and then it will ask you for a password, which I'm gonna pick some really good password like 1234 or something, I don't know. We can run with that. Okay, so apparently I cannot just type whatever I want. Okay, I'll be a good boy, alright? I'll use, Okay, anyways, whatever you type in there now becomes an actual admin account on your local Otis website. So, we have this bubble, it's running Otis. This is where the database is, I guess I should point that out. This file is the entire database. I'll even open it for you just so you can see there's a bunch of crap in here. We're not ever going to touch this. The point of the Django is that I never need to interact with this directly. Okay, so you type in the terrible password from before and you can sign in, and it would work if I hadn't killed the server. So let me restart the server. Alright, let's try that again. Right, so now you're signed in, and if you are in Otis, this part looks familiar. You've seen that part before. this part probably does not look familiar because it's the admin interface. So because you are all like normie students and not the game master, none of this will show up for you when you log into the real Otis Web. But this is local Otis Web. This is your own little Otis Web on your computer. So you are God and you get to play with the fancy buttons. So the one that I'm going to show you now is called the admin panel, which is about the most. The URL is basically /admin. So yeah, it exists. So under /admin, you'll get to see this wonderful switchboard, and every single model that I've written for Otis Web you can find somewhere in here. So for example, we were looking earlier at markets. You can look at these models here. This is a place where all the markets are listed, and this is a place where all the guesses are listed. Right now everything's empty because this is just like a new thingy-majiggy. So, you know, actually, let's just make some things. So right now this thing is so empty that it's actually going to be hard for me to deal with. So I'm going to go and create some test example data. So what do I want to make? Let's first make a user. So we're going to make a user called Alice because that's what I use for all my stuff. And we're going to type some terrible password again. Some stupid impossible password, save. So Alice aardvark or whatever. That's so now there's a normal user called Alice aardvark. Meanwhile, let's go create some units and semesters. So let's make the 2022 to 2023 school year or something active semester. Bold fields are mandatory. Everything else is optional. So I'm just gonna pick some stuff. Waltz. Thank you, Envy Juster, for the follow. I'll just we'll pretend the payment deadline is here, and like the other payment deadline is somewhere. I just type some random junk data, and this one in 2023. There's some stuff here. I'm just gonna leave this blank because I'm doing test data. Cool. Then we can also make some units. So here's how you make units. All right, we're gonna add a unit group. This is called the example unit. The older sister of dummy, I guess, or something miscellaneous. And we're going to add some units. So we're going to make a BMW example and a BMX example or something. I don't know. Okay, so now that I've done that, if you go to the website, we're still in the admin account, but you can, for example, go to the catalog, and now the catalog has your wonderful... I thought we fixed that space. Oh, crap. Alright, whatever. You know, it is what it is. Alright. This is how you make units in your local instance. Cool. So that's models. So the model controls how the database is... You know, how the data is stored in the database. When you specify a model, you say these are the fields that I want the model to have, and that's how I'm going to store it. And the reason this is nice is because now you never have to talk to the SQL database. Like when I was growing up, I didn't know any better, and I was writing PHP, and I was like manually generating SQL queries to inject into a database. Never again. This is so much better. Holy crap. Yeah. Okay. So that's an example of what models look like. I'm going to now show you what views look like. So since I'm on this thing, that is the catalog. The catalog is under the core app. So I'm going to show you what the core app looks like. So for reference, here's what the models looks like. So this is the semester that we just created. You know, here are all the fields. Some of them are mandatory, some of them are not mandatory. For example, this one is not mandatory, blank equals true, blah, blah, blah. If you read the code, it will tell you what's going on. This is a unit group. That's the thing that we just created. And then this is a unit. Every unit is associated with a group, and it has a code and a position. So that's that. And then, okay. So let's go to views. So very roughly, you can imagine there is a bijection-ish between pages and pages on Otis Web and view codes. So I'm gonna pick one that is Oh crap, these examples aren't great. Well, okay, we'll do the catalog for now. So. Okay, so here's views.py, and this is an example of a view, and it shows you a bit of why Django is so powerful. You'll recall that earlier I defined a model called unit group where I this is the example unit group that I created. And what I want is I want a view that, just takes all the units and prints them. That's what the catalog is. It's literally just, I took every unit and I printed it out, looks like this. And the view contains the Python logic for what it is. And because create a list of all the things is such a common task, there's a basically built-in way to do this, which is this list view thingy. So we'll talk more about this later when I actually created my own view. But what you do is you tell, here's the model that I want to print, I want this, and this is the set of things I want to print. So what I'm going to take is I'm going to take all the unit group objects, filter for the ones that are not secret units, because Otis has secret units in case you haven't figured out. Order them by subject and name, and also for each unit group, I will fetch the set of units that it has. So for our example here, that's the BMW and the BMX. And that's the entire view. Like, it is 4 lines of code because you're doing such a routine thing, which is print a list of things. That's very standard. And then what you do is you go under this file that's called urls.py. So that is this file over here. And under urls.py, you specify the URLs. I guess that's all that's happening. So this is the unit group list view I was just talking about that corresponds to the catalog. This is synopsis. That's, I guess, the name of the URL, and then you tell it to put the view in. And so that's what that looks like. This links up the URL into this thing. And that's like, okay, great. But there's still a lot of stuff happening here. Like, where did all this text come from, right? How does it know to format it like this? So the last part of the Django, after the models and the views, is what's called a templates. And the templates was where you directly write HTML. So where are the templates stored? I'm going to go under templates, core, and then the templates that's being used here is unit group _ list. So here it is. And if I open, oh, come on. No, I opened it in gvim. Jesus Christ. If I open this in Vim, you can see a pretty obvious bijection between the stuff that's written here and the stuff that's here. Okay, here's the title. This list is sort of by Olympiad category, blah, blah, blah. And pew, so stuff. And then the part here is the magic. So I won't talk too much about this, just I want to show you where things are so you know where things are edited. But it does what you think it does. So example, h2 subject. And then for every unit group in the list of unit groups, you create a list item, blah, 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 write some stuff. And, we have this stupid space in front of miscellaneous that's not supposed to be there. Actually, that might be annoying to fix. Okay, we'll deal with it later. But my point is, this is actually just where things are fixed. So for example, if I don't like this title and I want to say the really cool catalog or something, I can really just edit this. And then the next time I load the page, it's actually reflected. So this giant list, whatever, now the word giant's in here. So that's the whirlwind tour of where things are stored. So the model controls the database, the view controls how the user interacts with the database, and the template controls how the HTML is spit out. Some of you might be wondering, I guess, where the sidebars and stuff are coming from. That's because there's a command here that's called extends layout.html, which means that there's a template somewhere else called layout.html, which sets all this stuff up. So actually, I will show you where that is. No. Oh my god. Quit all. I'm very confusing myself. Alright. Too many windows. Okay, where was I? So on the right, the server is still running, which is great and all. Under the folder that's Otis Web /templates, Here's layout. Looks like this. Ah, freaking. So let me pop up the website itself for comparison. We're going to open the catalog where I just at. So, here's the title, right? And if for some reason you want to change Otis into a boat, we'll insert a boat. Do I? Oh, I don't have ibis on here. One moment. I need to do something really important. Boat emoji. Come on, today. How are there this many different kinds of boats? Okay, anyways. My point is that the template is literally just, like, there isn't any further tricks. So if I take this Otis web and replace it with a boat, there you go. Boat is web. Sounds like a Baba is U-line or something. Okay, so I think that's everything I want to say for the tour. Before I start actually writing any code, are there any questions before I keep going? Slash, are people still here? I don't blame people for leaving early considering what a mess that was. Oh my god. What a disaster. Okay, cool. Cool. Okay, so, right. Okay, actually, I'm gonna house ORZ. I think that was not called ORZ. I think that's called a display of incompetence. Okay. Man. I think next year I should make the Otis application require people to submit a pull request on GitHub. I think that would be a good way of making them learn this so I don't have to keep doing this. Okay, so anyways, here's Boda's web. Okay, so let's write some code. So first of all, I wanted to decide what I want to do. So let's go back to GitHub and see what my to-do list looks like. This is easy, so I want to leave this. This is this doesn't work. This doesn't work here. This doesn't work. Okay, so it probably has to be this one. Okay, let's create the jobs infrastructure. So, first of all, I have to actually decide what I want to accomplish with this. Let's make some new models. Alright. So we're gonna do all this under the payments app. I could start a new app, but honestly, this tutorial is confusing enough already, so I'm just gonna start with one that I already have. So under models.py, right now payments only has one model, and I'm gonna create some more. So first of all, what's my goal? Very roughly, in Otis, what I want to do is have a thing where I can create like lists of jobs that you can help Evan do, so I can put my children to good use, and actually I don't know. It's a lot like painting actually. So what Paul Graham will tell you is that, you know, some people have this idea that when you're painting, what you do is you visualize what you want in your head and then you draw it. And it turns out this is exactly not what happens. If you take like actual paintings made by real people and run them through x-rays, you will find that there is a lot of stuff that moves around during the painting process because, you know, it turns out that being able to see something really helps you decide what you want. So I'm gonna spend a bit of belief and just start writing a bit of code. Let's go. So, class job. Maybe I want actually job and job category. Okay, we're gonna first make categories of jobs. I'll call a folder just to be explicit. So the folder should have a name. So this is, we're going to use a character field. I'm going to turn on some super powers to make my coding experience a little easier. Magical autocomplete, basically. Max length equals 80. Help text equals a name for the folder. I don't know if I need anything else right now, but I'm gonna immediately define what's called a string representation. So that means if I ever encounter this object, how do I want it displayed? I'm just gonna turn to return self.name. Yeah, and of course I type with self, so immediately my editor starts yelling at me. Okay, so then a job. So every job will go inside a folder. So first thing I should do is specify a folder. So we're gonna say every job goes inside a folder of some sort. So models.foreign key job folder. There's a line you always add, which I guess is, I'm not gonna explain the cascade right now because it's a bit distracting. Help text, and we're going to include the help tag. This is the folder that the job goes under. It's not giving me type hints. That's interesting. Hang on. One moment. Alright. Let's see. My editor is not quite behaving like I wanted to. Actually, you know, this is not that important. So when I edit on my work computer, it actually will automatically type in all the objects for me. So I don't know why that's not working here, but it doesn't matter for the purposes of the stream, so we're just gonna run with it. Okay. name. We'll have a name field, so every job I guess will have a name. Name of job. And then we'll have a description, which is, this will be a little longer, so I'm going to use a text field, which doesn't have a max length by default. And we're going to say a job description of what you're supposed to do. So right now, like, I'm literally just like writing down what things am I going to need for my models. I'm not worried yet at all about how they're going to be presented to the user or how they're going to be stored. In fact, I will never have to worry about how they're going to be stored because the Django will handle it all for me. Because the Django is great. So what else do I want? We can say, maybe there's a due date. Do I want a due date? Due date, yeah, why not? We'll make a due date. All right. The job should be finished by, and then assignee is the important. So I want to be able to say like a person is working on a job. Wow, good job, my pipe crashed. So we're gonna do models foreign key, and a foreign key, as you've probably figured out, is a pointer to another model. So here what I want is I want to have the assignee be like a user, and there's already a model for a user. So we're gonna import the user. So user is stored under, it happens to be stored under Django contrib auth models. So that's that. We're going to type the magic on delete keywords, and then help text equals the user that is currently assigned. But the big caveat is that for this, I want to allow the assignee to be empty because I probably have jobs that aren't assigned yet. So we're going to type the keywords no equals true and blank equals true. What this does is it tells Django that I'm allowed to have this field be blank because by default, all fields are mandatory. So this is how you opt out of mandatory fields. What else do I want? I probably also want a status field. So I want to be able to say jobs are open, in progress, claimed, pending review, or whatever. I don't know. So we're going to status equals models.car field. So there is an idiom that's used for this, and I never remember how the idiom goes. So I'm going to go do the way that all code is written, which is called copy paste the code from somewhere else. Choices. So this is just how the idiom goes. All right. So status choices is going to be what do I want? Open. So type some abbreviation and then the human display. In progress. Pending review. Completed. In progress. Okay, so let me see how this is done here in the gender field. So car field. Okay, so we're gonna, the max length is going to be 3 because I don't have any symbols here that are longer than 3. Default choice can be open, I guess. So by default, jobs are up for grabs. I'm gonna not make these capitalized. Choices equals status choices, and we'll say help text equals the current status of the job. I have an extra parentheses, don't I? Alright, then sure. What else would I want on a job? Car. Do people not pronounce it car? Care? Who knows? Okay, what else do I want? Okay, we're gonna make a text field. Oh, sorry, I forgot something important here. Actually, no, description should be a mandatory field. I don't want the description to be blank, but the student. So maybe the job is like write a paragraph about how cool Evan is or something, and it would make my life easier if the student could just submit the paragraph directly on the website instead of having to submit it through some server avenue. So I'm gonna make a text field here. We're gonna make it we're gonna allow the text field to be blank, but we don't allow it to be none. So in a Django, typically the convention is that if you have a field which is a string, we almost never allow the string to be none. Rather, we use the empty string to represent quote-unquote no information. So that's why here, instead of I'm only typing blank equals true, instead of no equals true and blank equals true. Char makes sense. That's fair. Can submit some deliverable here. Actually, I'm gonna write worker because the student and user are two different things in Otis Web, and I don't want to confuse them. So I'm just gonna write worker to say it's a person, and also notes models.text field again. So maybe, you know, the person wants to leave some comments about anything I should be aware of now that they finished the job. And the worker can make we're gonna give these better names. We're gonna call this worker deliverable and worker notes. And make some notes here. Boop. Okay, anything else that I need? What else would I need on job? Oh, I forgot the most important thing. Am I ever gonna give a non-integer number of dollars? Yes, so I probably want my jobs to also tell the person how much they get if they do the job. Anything else I need? Okay, cool. There's a thing I've been thinking actually that I'm going to need as well, which is a worker profile. So if you decide that if you're an Otis student and you want to do a job for Evan, then there's some additional data that I need to collect from you, namely how do you want to be paid. So we're going to type worker profile models.model. So in fact, forget work. I'm just going to call it a worker. All right. So earlier I had a user here. I changed my mind. We're going to change it to a worker, and a worker it'll have a user attached using a 1-to-1 field. Related name. What do you mean single? No, this. So a one-to-one field is exactly the same as a foreign key, except that it's required to be injective, not necessarily surjective. So what I'm requiring is that every user is associated to at most one worker. And then for the worker, at the minimum, I should collect the following. So first, I should create payment preference, which is how do you want to get paid? And again, I guess there's some choices here. So preference is what are good ways for me to pay my kids? Invoice adjustment, which is going to be really fun. Oh lord. Pro bono, because I don't know. PayPal. What's a good abbreviation for PayPal? I'm just gonna write PPL. Why not? PayPal. VNM for Venmo. Even though that's the IMO abbreviation for Vietnam, I guess. What else do people use? Zelle? Not specified. Well, we'll have a... okay. So models.car field. Again, the max length will be 3 because I don't have any abbreviations longer than 3. The choices will be the preference choices here. And the default will be the empty string. And in order for that to any of that to actually work, I need to actually be able to get the record some other things. So we're gonna say PayPal username is it's some PayPal username, I don't know. And we're gonna say the Venmo handle is some other thing, and Zelle info is some other thing, and also notes, I guess, because you might want to make some notes about, like, I don't know, text, any notes on payment or whatever. Okay, so far what do we have? We have a worker, job folder, and job. Are there any other fields that I want to specify? Okay, let's leave it at that for now. So that's great. Here's a bunch of payment models. The next thing I usually like to do after I create the payment models is to edit the admin file. So the admin file, earlier you saw the admin interface. It's designed by this admin file where for every model I can register in the admin interface and tell it how exactly I want it to behave. So I'm going to import all the stuff that I just talked about. Worker. No. What the hell? How did that? I don't even want to know. Or I don't know what CLC is doing. It really wants to add some text there or something. I'm gonna go up here. Work. Why does it do that? I'm gonna make that read only. Why does it keep jumping to the left? What the heck? Okay, something's wrong. I'm gonna restart the whole editor. Oh, that's not supposed to happen. Go away. Okay, so here are all models, and here's the admin file. All right, and in the admin file, where it's, let's see, hope this is working again. We're going to input the worker, job, and job folder models that I just created. Okay, so we're going to first register the worker under a worker administrator class. And the way this works is you just copy the code that's right above it. So we display, the list displays a set of things that get shown payment preference, list filter equals payment preference. So you'll see in a moment and then search fields, I want to be able to search by the user's first name, user's last name, PayPal username, Venmo handle, Zelle info. These are our search fields. And there's a lot of users, so I'm going to add an autocomplete field for user. So that sets up the registration for the worker. Job folder is real easy because there's literally like only one class job folder admin. And finally, we're going to register a job and class job admin. You know what? I'm just gonna hide the Twitch chat. Yeah. Or shrink it? Maybe I should just shrink it. Good enough. So class job admin will be job display is. So what do I want on the front page? I want the status. I want to know what kind of job it is, the name of the job, and due date, assignee, spades, bounty, USD bounty. And then, oh, I forgot. I probably want to display the primary keys. So whenever you create the Django object, by default, there's one more field called either PK for primary key or ID for identifier, which is always unique and can never be changed. So in databases, you're always supposed to have a primary key that is, you know, even if your clients swear on their mother's grave that the primary key will never change, just ignore them. Just always make a primary key a surrogate key. That's the advice I've been told. Yeah, that's good enough. So that means I have this list display links that I want to also fill in. So this will be the set of things you can click on. Okay, great. I will put some search fields. So here I just search by name. Here I can search by name. I'll make the description sortable, I guess. And finally, I'm gonna list filter, I think is the correct keyword. So we're gonna allow filtering by status and by folder. And we're gonna allow filtering that way. Okay, great. So I've created an admin thing now. so now what I need to do is let's go back to the shell. So here we are inside Otis Web. In my bubble, anytime you do something that affects the way that the database is structured, you are required to do what is called a migration, which is the way that the Django keeps track of all the ways that the database is mutated. So that's this folder here. Right now there's only one migration, probably for the payment log model. But here we're going to do the following. So in my shell, I type python manage.py make migrations. And what that does for me is it creates a new file up here. This is migration number 2 that does all these constructions. So it says, in the database, you should create a model that blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. Once you've done that, you can type python manage.py migrate. And then it will actually apply all the migrations that you've created. Okay, so here's a good time to pause because we have a bunch of things, and part of the point of Git is that you want to make commits at logical points in your workflow. So for example, I guess the layout, okay, so we're gonna commit the boat separately. Polish, add a boat, and then we're gonna commit all the things we just made. Yeah, let's just commit it. So fee payments, create job models or something. Just type your description, keeping track of all these changes. So now that I've both created the admin and also done the migration, that means that when I go to the admin panel, when there are payments, I can now see all this new stuff that wasn't there before. So job folders, jobs, and the set of workers. So let's populate this with some test data just so that we can get a sense of what we're up on. So let's create a new job folder, and this job folder will be called free labor. I don't know. Make something up. Let's create another job. So under free labor, the name of this job is anyone have ideas for dummy data? We're gonna do drink more water because hydration is good. I don't know. It's like whatever. Oh, this is worth 1 spade and $1. Open. Oh, and this is okay. So this is what I was talking about the string earlier, because right now it has this job, but it doesn't know like how it should display the job if when I need it to be displayed. So that's why back in the models, what I should do is I should also type hang on. I always forget whether string should go on top or on the bottom. Let me check the other models. RPG models. String is the last thing. Okay. So define string, self string. We're gonna, for jobs, we will just use the name of the job. And for workers, we will string self. We're gonna return the user. The username anyways. Yeah, specifically this is like why it's nice to have good editors, because in an ideal world, if you forget the .username, for example, it will start yelling at you because self.user is not an object of type string. It is an object of type user, actually. It's its own type, not a string. So if your editor is smart enough, it will be able to tell you when you do dumb crap like this. It's like, you were supposed to give me a string, but you gave me something that's not a string. That's nice for catching mistakes like this. Unfortunately, editor setup is not something I want to stack on top of you right now if you are like learning how to code for the first time. I just want to say that eventually you should have an editor that will like catch these sort of mistakes for you. You might also have noticed, like, as I've been doing this, like, it looks like the code is almost writing itself in some places. For example, if I add a comma here, Let me stream the keys actually. So here I'm going to type 1 comma and save. And you can see it's actually doing this formatting for me, where it will automatically break these each onto its own line with the parentheses here, blah, blah, blah. Again, the editor stuff is, I think, not the priority if you're like first learning for how to code for the first time. But I want to say, like, eventually you should have an editor that does all this stuff for you. Like, you know, this line is long, so I want to break it. And if I type a single comma here, the editor will do it for me. All the indentation, if you've been paying attention, has been done by auto magic as well. I'm not manually indenting any lines for the most part. Okay, so now that's where we are. So if I look at git status and the git diff, you can see the changes that I just made. Now, git log is the command that shows you the transcript of what's happened so far. And really the changes I made, I wish were in here. Because, you know, if I'm breaking the commits by logical changes, it would be really silly if my log was like, you know, create job models, and then I would type like git commit, oops, I forgot something. If I did that, then the log history would look really terrible, because every time I messed up, I would have to like make a commit that says, sorry, I messed up. Fortunately, there is a way around this, so let me add the models file. If I pass the amend flag instead of in addition, then it will take the changes I made just now and meld them into the previous commit, erasing, if necessary, the previous commit. Well, actually, it always changes the previous commit. So when I do this, now the git log, there's still only one commit, but it has both the things that I've done earlier. So that's one way you can prevent your history from looking like a bunch of garbage. Did I misspell drink? I think I misspelled the word drink. Okay. Drink. Save. Okay, so far we have the models, and then because the admin interface is so nice, it's possible to directly put things into the models, or like create models. But of course, like you have the actual students who are using the website, and they are not going to be using the admin interface unless they manage to guess my password or something. So we need to create ways for the students to do things. Yeah, okay. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make it such that a student can change, you know, create a worker object for themselves and then update the values in it. So, let's go to views. Payment views. So there's oh geez, wait, this is RPG. That's the complicated stuff. I don't want to be there. Go back to payment views. So I'm gonna create a new view. Let's see, class. Frick. Let me make sure I'm consistent with the rest of the website. Dashboard models. View. No models. I want view. Okay. Don't need you. Don't need you. Okay. So class update worker. Update view worker. Import. So the things I just imported, our update view is imported here, and I also imported the worker object. Oh, I really should merge these onto the same line. So this is a Django generic view, and what it means is that it will actually, let me open up the one in the dashboard again because I'm going to need it as a reference anyways. Oh wait, it's that complicated? Oh jeez, okay. Just follow the incantations. Don't question it. Okay, so the way all code, I think, should be written when you're starting is you look at what someone else does and you make a conjecture of how it's working, how it works, and then pray that you can follow suit. So we're going to take a model, which is the we're going to create worker models, and then fields is a set of fields which I'm going to allow you to change using this form. So let me go back to payment models. So class worker, if I look at this, which things do I want the user to be able to change and which things do I want the user to not be able to change? And the answer is the user should be able to tell me all this information. The only thing they shouldn't be able to change is the username associated to the worker, because that's fixed by whoever they're logged in is. So we're going to type all of these. Payment preferences, payment preference, PayPal username, Venmo handle, Zelle info, and we're gonna put notes before because I think that's makes it a little more intuitive. Okay, anything else I need on this? I have to think this through a little bit actually. One thing is I want to add the line login required mix-in, which does exactly what the name says, which is that you only access this if you're logged in. The other thing, import login. So login required mix-in is this line here. Class. So, okay, what I'm going to do is I want to make one view that lets you look at the worker and another view that lets you update it. Fields equals. So the generic view that lets you look at a worker is called a detail view, which I will import now. So that's this one here. And what else do I need? Do I not have any detail? No, there's detail views here. Model equals worker. We're just gonna call the object worker. Object name equals worker. And I will not specify template name. It's okay. Is it called dead? Okay, so this should automatically get the worker. So get object is the thing that tells this view like what object do I want to grab to put into the view, and we're going to use worker.objects.get or create user equals request.user. Same thing here. Oh crap, no, there's no argument for request. This is self.request, I think that should work. Okay, so this tells the thing that the way you decide which worker to grab is you look for the unique user that corresponds to the signed in user and then you get or create it. Yay, okay. So those are the views, and then we need to create templates that correspond to those views. So let me open a file browser. So where are we? We're under payments so this views.py is this file over here. And so what I'm going to do is I go under templates and payments, and then I'm going to create two new files. One is called oops. No. You go there. Okay. One of them is called, what are they called? I actually have no idea. We're going to try to extrapolate by detail. Okay, so one of them is going to be called worker detail. So that's one file. And then the other is going to be called, is it form? Worker form. So these are actually the automatically generated names. I guess if I wanted to be explicit, what I would do here is I would type template name equals payments worker form.html, template name equals worker. This one should be new, this should be form. Do I? I'm not consistent. Oh no. This one is called guest view, and then this is called hint detail. This one's called piece of detail. Okay, so I'm gonna have to fix this later. But to be consistent with the rest of the... Wait, oh, that's actually even worse. Okay. This is how you found out that I'm not a good programmer, because I'm not consistent about this. Because for example, this one is called update file, this one's called update, but then this one's called problem selection update. It's not consistent. You should always pick one and stick with it. So either always put update after, or always put update before. I am not consistent, so I have to deal with that later. I think I should go after. Anyways, we're gonna do the, we're just gonna pick one because I wasn't consistent, so no matter what I do, I'm shooting myself in the foot. But here we are. So those are the templates, and well, I've done that, but really honestly what I should do is copy paste an existing template so that I remember what the heck I'm supposed to do. So let's copy from the, where's a good place to copy from? Let's copy from the exams. Those templates are, no, dashboard? Yeah, these are good. So here is the detail.html, what it looks like, and we're just gonna adapt it for here. Open with Vim, copy, paste, like the really good programmer I am. Okay. Okay, so worker profile for, and now in general, every time I type two curly braces, that lets me access things. So we're going to do worker, I think it's called user, and then get display name. We'll find out in a moment if that's correct. Extends layout, but okay, so I'm gonna keep this blank for now. Or actually, here, I'll write a tiny bit of text. Worker.user.getDisplayName is working. They like and payment preference, I called it, as a payment method. So that's going to be my worker detail view. For my worker form view, I'm going to copy. What if these forms looks like it's simple? Submit piece of form should be pretty simple, right? Copy. That did not actually look very simple. And paste. Shit. I do not know how to copy. Oh! Open with gvim. Okay, so you know what? I'm just gonna do that for now. So generic form includer, I'm not even going to bother with we'll see how it looks. Alright, so these are the two templates. So the views now have templates attached to them, and the very last thing I need to do is attach URLs to them. So I'm going to go into URL.py for this is dashboard. I want payment. No, go away. No, you. URL.py. So we're going to say one of them is going to look for views.worker detail.asView. So what URL do I want to use for this? Do I call it like worker view? That's a reasonable name. And then we're going to have an update. Okay, let's see how that goes. So if all goes well, then I should be able to go to my browser and go to the pages I just described. So 127.001.8000. We go under payments because that's where the app was defined. Slash, what did I call it? Worker, and then slash view. And it failed, which means something's wrong. Payments, worker, view. What? Why didn't that match? Is it because I'm missing a slash at the end? I might be missing slashes. Okay, so this almost worked, except like, you know, it didn't actually work. So let's see. What did I mess up? So I said the object name was worker, and in the template, what did I do? Sure, why not? Worker.user. Oh, is it not get display name? But payment preference came out blank as well, which is not good. Okay, well, I have a debugger here, so I can see what the context is. Maybe request. Settings? No, that's not it. Time, static. Okay, I have no idea actually. Context object. Is it? Oh, this is, I see. I think this is context object name. I don't know why I typed object name. Yeah, that's not a thing. Context object name is worker. That's why it didn't work. Okay, so still nothing. Ah, come on. So is there a worker object at all? Oh, got it. Okay, I see the issue. So when you run get or create, there's an idiom where in addition to returning the object, it will return true or false, depending on what the object was newly created. So you have to actually return the worker and not the tuple that's like true or false. Boom, boom, boom. And it still didn't work. Okay. Now what? Now what's the issue? What? Why won't you work? What? What did I do wrong? Worker not have a user? No, it definitely has a user. Okay, let me open the models again. Class worker dot user. I'm confused that payment preference isn't working. Oh, because it's the empty. Oh, okay. So I think I'm supposed to type that gimmick. Okay, so cool. It's almost working. I just need to find out why it won't let me. What's the correct thing for? How do you get a user's name? Is it get full? Oh, it's get full name, isn't it? Not get display name. Actually, here I think I'm going to use whatever. So the point is, like, you can have the template do whatever you want, right? Like, it's like you have the object now. So in your template, all you need to do is say what you like. So yeah. I guess the problem right now where the admin user created doesn't have a name inputted. I guess I'll fix that now. So star can have first name Evan and last name Chen. That's our super user, so... Huh, still nothing? Really? No, I don't believe that. Really? Oh, did I not submit? Okay, so that's how you can create a view. You can imagine, like, you know, I can make this as fancy as I want. I can, like, I don't know, like, make a bulleted list and say worker.get.venmo username, blah, blah, blah. Whatever. Venmo. And then default, if default none or something. Is that what I called it in the model? Okay, but it's Venmo handle, not Venmo username. Venmo, whatever. You get the idea. It's like I can make the template say whatever I want now. I'm gonna say none specified. And also, there's a part where I wanted to be able to type the text, so worker.comments, line breaks. So anyways, the point is that there is a view thing now. I can actually take anything. It's called notes. Why did I write comments? Oh, I guess there's no notes, but I have a way that I can just view objects now. If I have a database object, I can write like a 4-line view that captures the object, and now I can view it. Similarly, I should be able to update it if instead the URL is update. So /update. Then I'm missing a title first of all, so let me get that now. Worker form. We're gonna block title and block and update work preferences or something. And now there's this form, and I can just fill out the form. For example, I like to work pro bono. Is it? Is that how you spell it? Is it pro bono or pro bono? Hang on. Important questions. Pro bono is correct. Okay. Notes should not be a mandatory field, though. I do want people to be able to leave that blank. Actually, all of these should be not mandatory, so I messed up in my models. So here I was supposed to leave blank equals true for all of these, and I failed to do so, so I'm going to input that now. And as I said, every time you do something like this that affects the database, you need to run a migration that will update the database structure. So in my shell, I do python manage.py make migrations. I have a new migration that corresponds to these changes I made, and then python manage.py migrate. So now if I refresh this, these are no longer mandatory. And I can go Freaking, why is this so slow? I'm cool. Nom nom. Yay! Okay. Alright, oh crap, that's not what to do. Alright, submit. Okay, so this is where I'm like, oh, I apparently failed to define a few things. So we're gonna change two things. One is I'm going to create a method on worker that's called define get absolute URL. And what this does is that it will, given a worker, it returns a URL that corresponds to that worker. This will be useful in a moment. Let me show you what it looks in the admin. So the way that works is, oh, this isn't gonna work actually. Crap, because I don't specify the ID in the worker. Never mind. Forget I said that. So what we're gonna do is define get success URL. So what this wants to be is it should redirect. I'm gonna give these hints as well. So get object in both of these should give workers. It should give me the URL to go to after a successful edit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type the name of the view that I used before, which is payments worker update. That's actually a really long name. Do I want that name? Should I just use worker update? I want to just use worker update. There's no worker in any of the other apps. So we're gonna do worker update. So you type in the string that corresponds to whatever you set. Okay, maybe I won't give these hints. Seems like it's causing a problem. And I need to actually import that. So import. Where is this from? I think it's this one. I really should double check actually. Okay, let's go find some other code. So let's go under dashboard, because dashboard is where, well actually, dashboard used to be the most complicated app until I split off the RPG stuff from it. Because it was this Frankenstein of like problem submissions and pset submissions and the RPG system, and eventually just cut all three of them apart. So it's not clear to me that's actually the most sophisticated one anymore. Reverse is Django.urls. So we're gonna from Django.urls import reverse. And this is the function that lets you compute a URL. So reverse worker update, good to go. And now, if I try again, it should hopefully work. Num. Wait, something's wrong. Shit. I want to go to detail, not update. Okay, cool. So now what this does is once it submits the form, if the submission is successful, then it will redirect to here, which is the worker detail view. And you might want to think, okay, I should do this the other way as well, meaning on the page where you can see the worker, there should be a big button that says update. So we're going to take the worker detail template, and I'm going to add this button. So P, I think the way this is done is class equal. So we're going to center align a button. I think it's text center. A class equals button primary. Edit this page or something. Who knows? Whatever. And I need to specify the URL. And the way you do that is very similar, except in the template, what you use is this syntax. You just type the word URL, and then worker update is the one I want to go to. So now this button that says edit this page, and you can go back and forth. I want to like crash this somehow just for demonstration reasons. So I'm gonna type something that's really long. So apparently not long enough. Wait, really? Oh, it's cutting off. The browser is telling me I can't type more. Okay, never mind. Okay, we're not gonna go there then. That's gonna leave it like that. But basically, I think what should have happened is if you type an invalid input for whatever definition of invalid is specified by the model, then it should cause things to blow up. So now you have a way to edit this thing. I can specify my Venmo handle or Zelle info or whatever. I want to say it's VNhance. I'm not even sure that's correct. And if you go to the admin panel, now when I go under workers, you can see this worker that I've created, which you can edit from here as well. And of course, if you're an admin, you can do more things that other people can't. For example, I can change the user that's attached to it. This is not visible to the user because I didn't specify that as an editable field before. But yeah, all right, cool. Okay, so do I want to do more? I think I will leave it at this for now. I think this is already a lot to take in, but hopefully this should show how you can well, we created a model, we created a view for the model, and then we had a template that let you look at stuff inside the model. So that's like a very whirlwind tour of this behemoth that's called Otis Web. I'm not terribly happy with the way this video turned out, but also I guess it's a whole lot better than nothing, because up until now my strategy has been called just link people to GitHub and pray that they figure the rest out, which they don't. Right, okay, so just to clean up, the last thing I'll do is I will git log. I should have split this into more commits, but let's just say create worker views and whatever feature for payments. Git push. And now, once it's pushed, when you go onto GitHub, well, we can open a pull request, as I said. So new pull request from wait, what? For commits. Okay, yeah. We're gonna submit this pull request. Jobs demo live stream. So there's a lot that needs to be done. For example, I need to create a view that lets you view the list of available jobs. I need to create a view that lets someone like claim a job and so on and so forth. If anyone wants to take these on as like programming exercises to like try and learn what's going on, feel free to do so. Although that's probably on the hard end of first time exercise, but I think it is actually doable. Yeah, meow. I'm a kitty. Create pull request. And then you can well, they'll create a pull request and then Evan will try and merge it maybe. So the thing is, like, when you first submit to Otis Web, Otis Web has a lot of automated checks. It will run your code against a lot of workflows and probably tell you that certain things are not satisfactory. Looks like this once it gets started. Some checks, blah, blah, blah. I will sit back for a bit and eat some watermelons and see how many of these fail. I'm betting on like 4 of them not passing because I was not being very careful. But we'll see. Yeah, so don't worry if things fail, because if you're doing this for the first time, I promise you some of these tests will fail. I'll help you work through those. It happens. And then once Evan is happy with them, he will merge them into the actual repository, and you're kind of off to the races after that. Then it gets deployed, and then it actually happens for real. It's very exciting. So probably like by tomorrow morning, if you type in the URLs for the workers and whatever, they will probably actually start having they will probably already be live. Like you'll be able to create a worker object in the database for your username and then have them you know, press the 2 buttons. We created 2 pages. Those pages will be live in like an hour or so. Okay, let's see. Style check. What did I screw up? End block should have a name. I'm surprised the other tests haven't failed yet. Huh, the other test might actually pass. Okay, so I'm gonna fix this now just so that it's one less thing I have to think about later. This is on worker form. It says end block is missing a name. It should be end block title. So style fix end block title push. And every time you push, it will automatically update the pull request accordingly. So now that I've done another push, you can see, yeah, it's already there. And you can, wow, 80% coverage is actually a really low bar. I haven't even done anything yet. Okay, yeah, yeah. So we will. So these checks will run, they might pass, they might fail, I have no idea. But God, I'm tired. How long did that take me? Well, only about 2 hours. Okay, thanks for those of you that stuck through this whole thing live while I floundered around like a dying fish. There's 8 of you left apparently. I will export this to YouTube and then I can link it in contributing.md so that from now on, tour guide, okay? This is a tour guide video. You'll have to figure a lot of things out yourself. However, I think this one might pass. It might actually pass all the... I'm actually just looking at this. It looks like it's actually going to pass. Even though I was like really, really sloppy. Please accept Overlord. Thanks. Okay, hope that was like maybe kind of useful. I have no idea. Yeah. Back to Math on Friday, you know, regularly scheduled programming. All right. Come on, where's the button? Streamlabs Prime. Okay, and thanks to the... Did we get 1 follower, was it? I think we have 1 new follower. I don't understand how the coverage increased. I literally added lines with no tests, and like the percentage of lines that were tested like went up. How is that even possible? Okay, I won't question it. Alright, see you all Friday.